Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday, December 20th, 2016. And let's continue getting started. So, last time we worked, well, last two times we had working, semi-working movement code from the week before. And we decided to just do bug bash, try to figure out all the stuff that was wrong with it. We got rid of all the bugs I can think of, except one. Which is a cosmetic bug where if you're on a dedicated server, the first client for some reason jumps right to their spawn location, whereas every other client and a listen server, if you have a listen server, so client would only be dedicated server, all our clients smoothly transition to where their location is, be less jarring. It's a cosmetic thing. I mean, it would make a make a bigger difference. Actually, if it was VR, I wouldn't want to do that slow pan anyway. That would be what would make it notch, because I want to have it snap there. Maybe have like a little line that goes up to where you're gonna go and then teleport there. So it kind of just tells you roughly where you're going, but we don't have a VR headset, so we're not gonna do that. Although this game would probably translate really well to VR if I actually had a development kit of some sort. Maybe if I get enough money at some point through this or through other means, I might get a Vive, the second version of Vive, if they release it. Supposedly they're going to announce one at CES, so like a week from now, 2 weeks from now. Yeah, 2 weeks from now. So maybe, but that's what HTC was saying, at least. I don't know for a fact what it is. And they also announced a wireless kit for the first one, which is kind of weird. Well, the reason why they did that is because there was they had a startup incubator, and various companies applied, various startups applied, and they were given money, training, and exposure, and all that sort of stuff from HTC. It was mostly a East Asian, like overseas thing, but there was some in San Francisco as well. Said from a guy from Canada, so keep that in mind. Like in Canada right now. Yeah, so, yeah, they said they're probably gonna get another one, at some point, so maybe I can get one if I get enough, money for it. It might be kind of cool, because I think this will actually lend itself really well, because board games lend themselves really well to, VR, because it's a play area and you can move around, right? Kind of look over and pick up pieces and move around like that. There's a bunch of interesting things you can do in that sense, but can't do that if I don't have a VR headset, so that's a problem, which is funny because Ryan actually has two, but in Kentucky. Gave one to, let one be borrowed for an indefinite time by Alan, so Alan has one and Ryan has the other at the office, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So we'll see about that, what happens with that. But I think Check It would actually land itself really well to VR. But we don't have to worry about that right now for the movement, because we're just worrying about gamepad, mouse, keyboard, maybe touch. I do have a phone that can do that. And who knows, maybe it's good enough to run on, like, because I mean I'm getting 400 FPS on a GTX 1080. Maybe it's good enough to run on a Vulkan phone at some point. We'll see. I'm not doing really much complex. I have tiles, which are, basically cubes with round edges, and chess pieces, which are likewise just simple meshes with a simple PBR shader on them, and not really much else. So maybe it could translate to Android at some point. I don't know. Definitely the ones I'm focusing on right now are Windows and probably Linux as well. So I'm actually hoping that I can get the proof of concept out on Linux as well. Unfortunately, I would need to find some way of running Linux on this machine, because I only have one machine, of course. But that's probably just a matter of, like a bootable USB thumb drive. Use that as a drive, and whatever, right? Anyway, so let's get on with it. We're gonna build, and I'll show you for a recap, what we finished yesterday. No mirror. And I mean, I do have a second SSD in this computer too, but the problem is I need more space on my Windows drive as well. Unless, you know, Microsoft pissed me off and I just go Linux and have Windows be like gaming only, but you know, or like a VM or whatever. We'll see about that. I do have quite a bit invested in Windows though, from Adobe to games, but yeah. Anyway, I'm already loading that map. What I'm even doing. So right now we're on a dedicated server, so we're going to see the glitch on this monitor of no smooth transition. Unless I have this be spectator, hehehe. But no, it's going to be the main player. Did I click properly? I did not. No, I did. Okay. Actually, one thing as well about, whoops. Ooh, it's leggy. I mean, I'm running 3 instances of the game, but still. I really want to get the lighting looking a lot more like 4.11, but regardless, we now have a spectator, which is going to stay in the back, player 1 and player 2, silver team and gold team. So gold team can move. Oops, silver team. Moving the wrong monitor. Wrong view window. Silver team can move. Gold team can move. If I figured out what was wrong with my wireless adapter for this, let's see, actually, maybe it will pair magically. Oh crap, it pairs magically. Okay then. Sure, why not? Yeah. So now we have the moves that properly recurse. Let's say if I have my controller paired properly, I can have these windows always on top and just have mouse and keyboard for 1 and route the gamepad to player 2, but you know. That's what we're doing. Let's actually do this. I'm not really seriously trying to play against myself. For some reason, when you are playing with yourself, or playing... Never mind. For some reason, when you are playing single player, like both sides of it, you want to take it seriously, even though you know that it's not really a game, right? You also should be careful as well because pawns can eat backwards too if you do this. And sure, the rook can eat it, but the pawn can eat it. Alright, I didn't fix the click bug, right? You may do that at some point. But the pawns can eat backwards now. Well, they always couldn't check it, but in chess, you're not used to that. Chess, you're used to pawns being able to only move forward. That doesn't make sense when you have no forward direction on your map, right? Give a pawn trap just by kind of doing a snake, and that's it, right? Thanks for the host again, Linux Gamecast. Anyway, so we have that. I'm gonna turn off my controller now. I don't know what was freaking out my computer until just now. It was not like in my controller though. Oh well. I was gonna get ready to plug it in wired, but if it connects wireless, even sure, why not? Yeah, so new C++ class, and this one we want to have it be F runnable. Oh right, it's not one of the default classes. Okay then, so we're just gonna copy and paste it from the previous one then. So here we're going to create a new, whoops. Dude, no, sorry, add, sorry, oh, what's that? New file. Let's do a header file. Okay. Check it. Public. So basically on there. So it'll be do we want to have subclasses of AI for the specific game modes? Probably will, so we'll probably want to do base AI. Base AI runnable. Save. Is that to my project? Add existing item. Okay. Does that work? Does that put my... Okay. Also get it added to my project all fine. So there we go, new item. C++ file. We're going to have it not be in intermediates. We're going to browse it to source, check it, private. Sure. Source check private. Base AI runnable. And that added it to my project browser. So here and there, we're good. So it should be added in my solution now. So now we can do copy paste, but it's not that complicated. So I think I'm just gonna write it out because it'll probably be more complicated to make it work than it would be to this I'm talking about. This is the 4.11's AI. Probably quicker to write it because we're gonna have to use the turn manager now. We're not gonna have it kind of poke into game state. I mean, it's gonna poke into game state to get, you know, sync up, but it's not gonna actually rely on the state that's in game state for all of its calculations. It's gonna pull it into its own turn manager and manipulate with that. Okay, so yeah, that probably takes longer than just doing it, right? So class, is it check it API? F base AI runnable, F runnable. Oops, nope, F runnable. F runnable should be a known class. I never needed to add anything weird to it. I'm guessing header tool will just finish that off when it knows. Anyway, static F base AI runnable pointer singleton, so it's kind of a pointer to itself. F runnable thread thread public FAI base AI runnable. Virtual, because virtual destructors, why not? And then interface, which is the stuff that the FAI runnable requires us to add, because there's functionality that Epic depends upon. So a lot of this is, I think all of this is actually Epic's code. Okay. So now here I store some pointers to the values that's required. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to need entirely. But I know I'm going to need something, so I'll store those. So U property, let's not worry about blueprint keywords yet. So U world, world, and that's just so we know what world we're in. Although I suppose if I get the game state, I can do things like that. So game state, game mode, I don't care if I get the world property, because I can use U gameplay statics for that. And then we'll do a U property, U, what's it called? Turn manager. Turn manager. Which I'm tempted to just call TM because I know what that is, but it's not. It's not good. Yeah. Hey Sean, welcome to the chat. So now we got that, we can go into the other one here. Include checkit.h, because yeah, that's our big one. Oh, I don't think they include checkit types, because that's included in our why is that included there? Oh, I think it's included there for one, I think, yeah, P state here for one of the values. Okay, that's fine. Haven't seen me in ages. I've been, I do this 3 times a week, so I've been here yesterday and the day before. It's just that I'm starting, I would normally start an hour from now, so I'm starting earlier than usual. I usually start an hour from now and go for about 2 hours, but, you know, I decided to start about an hour and a half earlier now because we've been going for about a half hour. Anyway. So maybe you're just, you know, not around long. Actually, I say I start around 9, usually around 9:15 and 9:30, let's be honest. Yeah. So include checkit.h. I don't need to do checkit types though. Alright, so let's not include the partials until now. Oh, not usually here this late, yeah. So if you want, you can actually, around here, there's a link to YouTube. If you're looking on Twitch right now, if you're on YouTube, you're thinking, what is the guy talking about? If you're looking at us on Twitch right now, there's a usually a link down here to my YouTube, and you'll see all the past episodes since I started with the relaunch in 4.11. So the 4.11 version and on is all there. Lost quite a few of the 4.9 and 4.7 and 4.8 version stuff, but yeah. When did we start? Was it 4.7 or 4.6 or 4.5? I'm not sure. It was a while ago. It was 2014. F-base AI runnable. Oh, sorry. Include base AI runnable.h. And let's, there we are. Okay, runnable, F base AI runnable, singleton equals null, because we can't spawn an object yet when we're running through static values. Okay. Oops, F base AI runnable. What am I doing? Thread equals F runnable, or yeah, F runnable thread. Create this text macro for the descriptor. Check its AI worker. And then 0, and then whatever this enumerator is. T-pry. Oh, thread priority normal. Okay. That makes sense. As a matter of fact, I may even want to put it below normal. Yeah, let's put a lower priority. T-rip, no. T-pry, below normal. Not really much more than that because who really cares, but, and also probably some operating systems won't allow this, but whatever. I'm guessing Epic would be smart, and if they can't do thread things, I'm not sure actually which one now allow. Maybe iOS, but I'm pretty sure Android and the rest of them do it. So anyway, and I'm almost certain Windows and Linux will let them. Maybe not UWP, but that's not enabled in Unreal Engine 4 anyway, unless you download the special one from Microsoft, which. Who do you want to support your Unreal Engine 4? Microsoft or the people who make Unreal Engine? Probably Epic, right? Did I accidentally forget the base, but it added in for me? So, thank you. Cool FAI, or base AI runnable. Init. I really want to actually make some C++ application from scratch again. Really kind of start from instead of having to go through this stuff just for it, but obviously I have a lot of more important things on my plate, like getting this thing out the door. And there is absolutely no way I'm going to be beating... Does it really require a double? It wants a float, so I'm going to give it a float explicitly, so there's no casting overhead or anything like that. I mean, casting overhead of one value, called once per program lifetime, is not a big deal. But still, I can type F. Void fbase AI runnable. Stop task counters dot increments. And again, we're basically just copying the implementation here that we created for 4.11, because as you know, it worked fine from a thread standpoint. It worked great, but the AI wasn't complete. It was making some stupid moves, which actually ended up not being so bad. If you wouldn't know that there were how much randomness was involved in it, you'd probably think it was just a dumb AI, not a bad AI, but it was basically a random number generator. So yeah, the previous AI was and also it didn't have the issue where it would not want to do moves. But yeah, the previous AI was kind of dumb in the sense that it would only what's the word? It would only for a init. I'm wondering if I actually need to make the turn manager happen there, or if I want to start it when it starts to run. Yeah, anyway, we'll figure that one out later, but, I completely forgot what I was gonna... Oh yeah, it was, so how the AI actually worked was, it would get all possible moves, and then it would go through them and see, which ones involved the piece being eaten, the piece eating something, or the piece, not having anything happen at all. It would assign a positive value to chains of eat. So and not just in one. So if the piece could be eaten, but another piece can eat it back, but another piece it would add all those together and would create a positive number. It actually did both of them. It looked one move ahead. It only looked at one move ahead, and then it would recurse down. I had them both in there. And the positive and negative trades would be sorted into 3 bins: good, neutral, and bad. And basically what it would do is it would look through all the good trades and choose a random one through it. If there was no good trades, it would go to neutral trades and choose a random one. And if there was none of those, it would choose or it would actually not choose a bad one. It would only, I think it wouldn't choose a bad one. I think it would only do a null move or something like that. Something like that. I can't remember what it was. Regardless, so it sorted all those moves through it and chose a random one. So it was really a random number generator after a small sorting into, you know, kind of good, kind of bad. Sorry, kind of good, doesn't really matter, and kind of bad, right? There was no logic of trying to move the army to any part of the level or anything like that, which could be useful for, you know, non-chessboards, but, you know. Oh, and I'll just say as well, I'm probably going to have 2 or 3 maps shipping with the proof of concept, which we're going to work on, obviously, on stream. Chessboard's going to be one of them, cross-stream's going to be another one. I'll probably... Yeah, that's a song. Crossstream's gonna be another, which I'll probably copy the 4.9 layout for it because it looked like it's gonna work pretty well. I'll probably change the visual style a little bit. I don't really want to use the what do you call it? I probably don't want to use the Epic game, Infinity Blade. I probably want to use the Infinity Blade aesthetic to it. I want to have probably, I'm thinking more solid shaded. Basically all of the detail come from enemy inclusion, but it's not important, yet at least. So that's cross-stream, and maybe an indoorish one to kind of give people an idea, maybe, you know, something like that. And we'll ship those 3 with the proof of concept if it works out. If not, we'll probably just do cross-streams and chessboard. But yeah, I want to make sure that people realize it's not just a chess game. I want to have people know that it's, you know, it's got way more content than that. And the chessboard level is mostly just kind of to be familiar to chess players so they can kind of get a hang of the new mechanics before they are ripped from them and put into a level with corridors and courtyards and things like that. Anyway, all that aside, and bridges. All that aside, I'm not sure if I'm going to do the cards. It's really annoying. I'm not sure if what we have right now will easily lend itself to cards. It might. The thing that concerns me actually is a 4.14 upgrade where the clicking doesn't work as it used to. I'm not sure how much I need to change to make clicking work again, and I'm not sure how I would play cards if it wasn't for clicking. I mean, for controllers, I could have probably... you know, 4 face buttons currently set up, where this one on this control scheme, I'm not going to allow key rebindings probably for it because it's a proof of concept demo, which I'll probably put on itch.io. So select, cancel, probably skip turn, and probably play card if I do cards. But for mouse and keyboard, that would be a bit of a different issue as well, because when you use mouse. Once a mouse, you kind of intend to click on something, but if I can't let you click on something because of how Unreal Engine's set up right now for their thing, I might have to change a bunch of it, and if I have to do a refactor, I'm not going to do that on stream. I'm going to do it off stream and just blow through it, as opposed to having it be like a month of time, right? So we'll see about how that works. Maybe I'll do 2 itch.io releases, like maybe 2, whatever, and then we'll see what happens after that. I'm assuming what I'm going to be probably doing is if I do it on itch.io, I'm not going to have it be early access. I'm going to have it be proof of concept demo. That's that. It's done. I mean, I'll update it if I have a serious crash bug or something like that. Maybe do a second one for cards. Although I'll probably not do the stream where you see everything in it. I'm not going to, you know, hide everything from stream, but, you know, I'd work outside of the streamed hours, basically. And after that, then we might go for an early access version of it. Okay, so this is under the assumption that the itch.io release doesn't give me a whole swarm of viewers and I'm suddenly insanely popular like PewDiePie or whatever. If that's the case, right, I can do something, you know, like I was intending, right? But let's say in the bad case scenario where I get a handful of viewers for it, but people like the game, then I'd probably have 1 or 2 proof of concept demos, and then crush in a refactor, doing the stream as kind of a cooking show sort of thing, where we'd also work on some things on the stream. Obviously, I'm not going to get rid of development, but you're just like, when I stop one day and start the next, there might be some things that happen between, right? Which is good, because sometimes you run into bugs that you can be like, I can just solve this if I spend 3 hours looking through YouTube videos and asking around on chat, things that are boring to do on video on a stream, or copyright issues on a stream as well. And even if it's not a copyright, even if it's fair use, doesn't mean that I'm not going to be sent through a rigmarole with YouTube or whatever, because as we all know, fair use and YouTube doesn't necessarily always align. They're trying to be good about that, but let's it's also something I want to avoid. So don't watch. You know about that anyway. That's why I don't watch on YouTube videos on stream, if you haven't seen already, even though I probably said it like 5 or 6 times. Yeah, so after that, I might put it on, an itch.io or some platform like that, where it would then be early access, or sort of a Minecraft model where it'd probably get slowly more expensive over time if I do have to charge for the game. Again, this entirely hinges upon how many people play the demo and how many people watch a stream because of the demo. This could happen in many different ways. As you all know, what I would prefer, like, if I could make a good living just with a stream, my goals and dreams would be to release this game for free and just have more and more viewers to stream. But if you do due diligence, there's not a whole lot of sustainable streams out there, right? It's probably not going to happen. So as much as I've been talking up, like, hey, I wish this can happen, I want to set expectations. Like, I know it probably won't. I know it's reaching for viewers. I would have to have a really good release in the game that just happened to hit that right audience that would not just want to play the game, but also want to watch how it's made. If that's the case, then yeah, I can release the game for free and all that sort of stuff, right? That's no problem for me. If I make money to make it that lets me keep doing it, then I'll make the money that keeps doing it, right? That's great. I'm not gonna try to milk all the money out of it and make money from all different aspects of it if I don't need to. But realistically, chances are I'm gonna have to sell the game. Like, I knew that for a while. I don't want to, but realistically, I know that I'm going to have to. There's also the issue as well of, if I'm not selling the game, but it's a promotion for the stream, does that fall under Epic's releasing the game for free, or does that fall under Epic getting a cut of the ad revenue of the stream? It's 5%. I really don't care. As a matter of fact, I'd probably be like, you're not entitled to this, but here you go anyway, right? And they'd probably laugh at me at the accounting department. But yeah, there is that aspect of it too, of then having to be in a conflict of Epic being like, so what is it classified as? I am giving away the game, but it's not, it's free for anyone, right? It's just to watch the stream. Which one does that count under, right? That's not important. And it's definitely not something that would be public. It would be something I'd discuss with Epic and myself. Anyway. Basically, I've been thinking about it a lot now that we're getting closer and I'm starting to see a finish line, because for a while there, especially when we're in the UI stuff, it was just like, there was no light at the end of the tunnel. It was just black all around you, and you're like, I'm going forward and I'm not hitting a wall yet, so let's keep going, right? Every once in a while, you hit your head on those, beams. Anyway. Metaphors stretched way too thin. Let's get back to the game. I am on the right wander. Good. Okay. Come on. Stop! And then our semi-constructor, f-base AI runnable, f-base AI runnable, spawn worker, which is, oh. Sorry. And F platform process supports multi-threading. Interesting check there. I'm not sure if there's any situation where Unreal Engine 4 runs on something that supports multi-threading. I mean, even HTML5 does. It actually does support multi-threading, web workers. And then there's some other things as well. Oh, road context. Oh, and that's why I was freaking out. Single done. Singleton world equals world context. I don't know why I did that, because yeah, screw it. Okay. And singleton turn manager equals how did we do that before? It was acquire turn manager. How do we make this? So this is new object. So I'm guessing it wants to be. First, we need turn manager. Would that work if I make it a child of the world context? View object outer class. Okay. Let's see if this actually works. I don't even know if it will. Or you know what? Forget it. May actually need a function to provide it a turn manager. Hey Bo 2015, welcome to the chat. So may need to actually provide a method to provide it with a there, so then return singleton. Seeing streams in a couple months? Yeah. I've been mostly starting about an hour later than this. I stream Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Typically 9. It's supposed to be 9 p.m. Eastern. It ends up being like 9:15, 9:30 Eastern. Through to 11. Sometimes I do it a couple of hours early, but it's kind of rare. Things are going fine. As a matter of fact, I'll even show you this. So we're almost done with base AI runnable. So 1 second. And I'll show you what. Oops. What was I? That's fine. There is no test. Is there entertainment? So watch when you want, how you want. Singleton, ensure completion, delete singleton, and singleton equals null. Bool FAI or FBase AI runnable. Because again, we may want to have some methods that can be overridden for specific types of, game modes or whatever. I don't know what I'm doing right now because I'm gonna have to do a major refactor before that anyway. But I guess if I just start working towards that goal, then I will think about it next time I do a refactor when I look over this previous one, because I'm not going to do it from scratch, of course. Return true. If there is no worker thread, return it's done because it doesn't exist. Okay. And then begin AI. Void F base AI runnable. As a matter of fact, some of these are gonna have to be virtual because I'll need to override them, but I'm not gonna make them virtual just yet because, well, yeah. I think that might be it. Yep. So this AI is going to be very useless because it's not hooked up to anything, but I'll still build it to make sure it works. Yeah, I'm going to show you the game in just a second. I just had to make sure, because it caught me when I was creating a new class, which means I have to add all the functions I add in, otherwise it won't build. I could have ran without building the newest version, but yeah. Now we can build and run. So the major difference since the 4.11 version is that we now support multiplayer. So everything we do, there's one or two bugs here and there, but otherwise everything we do is multiplayer. So now we have the round settings. Okay. Well, we're starting right now, so here we are. So we're gonna do chessboards 1v1. So we're gonna launch the game. If I click it right, there we are. Now we have 3 instances of the game running: client 1, client 2, client 3. Client 1's going to go to gold team. Client 2 is going to go to, down here is going to go to silver team. And client 3 is just a spectator. They're not assigned any spawns, so they can freely roam around. And they just kind of stay at a place that I figured looks kind of cool. So now we have, this one has their, it's not quite a chess game. As a matter of fact, I'll show you a previous version for it. It's a board game kind of inspired by chess, but it's expanded from that. So I'll show you not piece perspective stuff. I'll show you the original version, because that'll give you a better idea of what I'm trying to go for when it loads up. So it's the older one. The lighting's terrible, but that's okay. Click, and so forth. But if we go to the other map, Cross Streams, you'll see that it's not quite chess. So the one player spawns here, and the other player spawns all the way over here. So they're kind of diagonal spawns. And the rest of the map has like queens up here, rooks up here. There's gonna be houses between these here. And there's knights here. And this will kind of give you an idea of the type of gameplay that I'm going for. So the queen can move up to the control range. As you can see, some of the tiles have auras, some of them do not. And you can only control what's in your control range. So if I try to select the knights right now, I can't. The king is what gives you control range. So if I move the king to the left, you'll notice the control range goes away on this side. And over here, it starts adding. So, yeah, thanks for watching. As we keep going this way, we are then able to move the knights. But the number of moves required to move the knights means if the opponent, if they're going to rush your front door, is going to have more ability to control where you're going to be going. And I timed it out so that way they kind of get right around here if you move both knights. Alternatively, you can move one knight and you only have 3 pieces instead of 2 or 4, but they'll kind of be around here when you're, you know, getting out. So you'll have a little bit more time. You might be able to kind of sneak away out here, or maybe kind of take the safe way and go across here, have the knight jump. Anyway, so that's kind of the idea. So how many pieces you want to move out with makes you move slower, but you'll have more pieces, so you have more options, right? So that's kind of the trade-off we're going to go for. And then we moved it to 4.11, where we're trying to do what we did here, but didn't work out so well for a couple of reasons. Let's do Team 5. Lucky green. You notice we have 2 kings, we actually have 2 control ranges. I like how the lighting works in this version. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to want to actually see the lighting profile from this and see how it's... This is a lot softer of a pink than previous one. I think I just increased the roughness a little bit. But there might be some other stuff in post-processing I did as well. Actually, probably something, because even the yellow looks different. So yeah, we have, this is a bit more of our movement mechanics we're going for, but the problem was this wasn't multiplayer, so let's move back a little bit this time. So as you see, as we're moving back, we're slowly getting more and more, whoops. More and more movement, so we're actually able to, and I can't move any more than that. And you can never actually tell how much vision they have, or how much control range they have. All you can see is your own. I'm not sure if that's the best design choice, but it was one I made, so whatever. It was the easiest one to make, but it might be fun as well, I don't know. I think I actually like the green the most. Maybe blue's pretty good too. King Party? Alright. And I get the idea. So now we have this, where again the lighting profile is a little bit weird. Oh, one of the problems is that we're not using we're using the blue sky, so we're not using an HDR dome. We're using an HDR dome, but we're not using the same one. So that might just be a problem with the blue sky. Right, that's what the problem was, yeah. I was hoping that when we add the world around it would do a bit different, but we need to have something above it that's not blue. You know what? Let's try. We need something a bit better than this. Zenith color, horizon color, cloud color. Let's actually do just desaturate it quite a bit. Horizon color. Actually, what I could do delete the skies. Atmospheric fog. There we are. Then do build lighting. And then I actually have some other HDR maps that are public domain. They were given by a guy from DeviantArt of all places. But they're photo scenes. So I could probably use that for lighting, because you don't really have to have it be, you know, good lighting. It just has to be, you know, believable. Let's see here. Yeah, that's our accent light only. Okay, so let's so skylight. Where is the skylight? So let's capture scene. No, specified cube map. And it'll be 1 second while I try to find that cube map. It's what I use for some 3D models. Wherever it went. No, not that one. Oh no, that's not the right one. Where did they go? Oh. Here. Okay. Let's go Studio 19. Preview with Photoshop, thank you. Because that's totally a lightweight for him. So you can kind of see the style of HDRs they're making. So it's kind of studio based. It's weird because they had some really good ones over here. Oh, right now all of them had a preview. That's the problem. Okay. Such preview should be a lot. So this would be kind of cool, but I think it'll have the same problem as the other one, where there's nothing on top to add it, and also it's not really going to be realistic because, you know, it's well, it doesn't have to be realistic anyway, but you get the idea. Now, this one might be kind of cool. And again, that's going to be wrapped around the level as a cube. So basically what an HDR map is, I haven't actually explained it. So it's a rectangular map, but it gets wrapped around as a sphere in the same way a map does, like a rolled out map of the world. Same idea, so it's going to be some stretching at top and bottom. That's okay, because it's usually where, you know, people don't look as much, they look around, and that's going to be roughly low distortion. But anyway, regardless, it wraps around as a sphere, and HDR, once it knows where on the sphere it is, that's the light coming in from infinity. So if you have a image of an outdoor scene with trees and stuff like that, it's going to assume that the trees are going to be far enough that, you know, the light coming in from outside the scene, if you look in that direction, it's going to be part of a tree. If you look in that direction, it's going to be part of a mountain. If you look in that tree section, it's going to be a cloud, right? Because that's the light coming in from outside your scene. It's stored at a very high, so HDR is stored at a very high range of intensities. And it will be like there's a point light coming from that location of that angle. And it's going to be like that through all the angles of the sphere. Occluded by the objects in the scene, of course, because, you know, shadows exist. But apart from shadows, it will be the light coming in from infinity. So that's how you kind of get very good, like especially metallic colors and stuff like that, because you're seeing the light come in from infinity regardless of where you look at, right? And you'll have good metallic sections when it reflects something unique. You don't necessarily, the eye doesn't necessarily know what it is, but it knows that there is some variation when it reflects. So that's what you kind of have to look for when you look for HDR maps. I think I should open the same one twice. Oh, is that? Oh, okay, no. Okay, so let's, I don't like having things be open on screen. I like having them open off screen and showing. Oh, I thought I saw some green in there, but I did not, so okay. That could be kind of interesting. No, but yeah, no. I don't want to have the camera there. But the way that it's arranged looks kind of cool. Yeah, the license is download, modify, share, and put them to good use. So they are basically no copyright. So, which is nice of people to do that. I mean, it's not very complicated. I could probably do that if I actually tried to set it up for various scenes, but come on. Because you can actually probably paint these. It's just an equirectangular projection. You can also do it, of course, by setting up a scene in Blender and having a bunch of objects around, and then telling a camera zoom around and create one image from it that covers all angles. Equirectangularly? Oh, that's that one. Alright. This one is going to be a bit of a problem. It would make things look really super weird. I don't really have a whole lot of good options for daylight. There's a lot of stuff for studio settings, which is good for when I do... Oh, that could be interesting. That could give some really interesting shading. Let's see, so what's the preview like? Open with Photoshop. So this is the shading it gives. It has some pretty interesting lighting effects to it, especially for metals. But it's not going to look like a outdoor scene. It's going to look weird. But none of these are going to look like an outdoor scene, apart from the city one. So, you know what? Let's try. 8. So let's grab 8, and let's copy into our content folder. Check it. Unreal projects, check it 4.14, content, and let's do HDRs. And let's copy a couple more in. So what are some other ones I liked? $28 might be kind of cool. Let's try 30. Let's try 34 as well. Let's try 33 and 34. And 32 is much different, I think. 32 is, yeah, it's that. So 31, 33, and 34. So 31, 33, and 34. Copy them in here. And again, thanks to the fine people that provided HDR content for free. Import, yep. And now it's trying to import them. I noticed they're actually different content. One, 3M or EXR, one of them's HDR. Content browser, HDRIs, but it's able to load them all. That's good. So cube map. Oh, it can only understand Studio 8. Do build lighting. Again, the bottom scene doesn't matter too much. It's weird, doesn't take EXR, only takes HDR. I guess for that matter, I could add the atmospheric fog back on. Do a build again. I wonder if I can actually convert it from in here. Let's actually look at that. So, UE4 EXR. Or maybe it'll just work. For the time being, you know what? Save it. We'll fix it if we can't. Okay. So now let's go to main menu. I could probably even go through my crash plan backup and pull the old asset from like 2 days ago if necessary. Probably look a lot nicer though for lighting. I'm actually going to need to probably adjust the exposure a little bit. Yeah, I can tell it's trying to auto iris. Because this is not showing up correctly. Right, so let's go into open level about chessboard. And where's my post-process volume? There's my post-process volume, kind of hidden off this side there. I can just find it in the... I could have just looked in the World Outliner under P, but yeah. This might actually be, and I mean, people will be like, oh no, but like, this is probably gonna be my last one before Christmas of the stream. But if you think about it, it would be the last one until Sunday at least anyway, so it would be the last one until at least Christmas. Unless I do more than usual. So exposure, and brightness, max brightness, so 1.0. Let's actually just clamp it to 1 and see how blown out that will be. So we're disabling auto iris by having them the same. Yeah, adaptation is disabled if min brightness equals max brightness. Because what will adapt to? How will it adapt? It can vary between 1 and 1. Yeah. So let's see if this looks a bit better. Oops, it wants to be this guy now. Cool. Oops, nope, yeah. We'll be able to do 1 VAI soon, but not just yet. So let's see, there. This should actually be lighter. I'm wondering if our problem is the key light. We have a second light in the world. Directional light. Let's see here. Intensity. Let's. Okay, atmospheric fog. Let's do 0. Then let's do whatever our thing here is. Skylight is 1.1, and the other one is so 1.5, and indirect. Right. I guess 50 lumens wasn't too much anyway, so I guess we could probably add that back, but we'll see. So let's build. And we shall see if this causes any issues. I know we did that for shadows, but probably gonna disable shadows anyway, so whatever. Dynamic shadows, I should say. So that's been built. Let's try save. So now we're basically just being lit by our HDR. That's kind of cool, actually. You know what? While we're here, let's go back to Skylight. And since the thing says it seems to support EXR, let's see if it just didn't want to accept it. Nope. Doesn't want me to do that. Okay. Let's try that. Let's see here. So let's see what you are. Compression settings, HDR, texture group, world. Okay, cool. Oh, that's right. Okay. Okay, well, we'll leave it like that for now then, because it doesn't want to work with me. Let's do 1.5. Dividing against 1.2. Not 12. Let's actually try 50. Okay, So, well, I probably need a build for that, right? That won't work out so well, but we'll see. Oh, yeah, there we are. Very vibrant now. The indirect has been amplified by such a high degree. I do kind of like the effect, even though it's clearly wrong. Let's try 2 then. And 1.3. Let's do 1.5. 1.4. And we'll do build. Maybe if we add a little bit of a golden hue to it. Golden should be around 30, but around 40. Let's try 1024. We can afford it a little bit, I guess. It won't make much of a difference because QMAP, especially for low detail ones like this, it won't matter too much because it's just gonna be the reflections here, right? We'll do a build. I think we just did that, but I could be wrong. We'll go into the new level. Oof, that's way blown out. Yeah, we need to tone that way down. Okay. And then I think of it actually, I think the post-process volume we had set to below 1, which is why the yellow looks so vibrant. Try 0.8 and 0.8. Actually, let's try even lower now. 0.7, 0.7. I was trying to type a number to a checkbox. That wasn't going to work out so well. And then here, this has been disabled. So you are going to be intensity 1.2. Let's go 1.0. And then 1.0. Let's do 1.1. Build. Then save, then go into it from the level, and it likes spawn number or client number 3 after the first one for some reason. I don't know why. Probably use a little bit less color, a little bit less lighting. So let's go to 0.9. And you're wondering, like, why are we lowering the light and the color at the same time? That's just going to balance each other out. What we're trying to do is we're trying to move the auras, which are emissive, and boost them up a little bit. That's not going to let me see it because they're not going to spawn. Okay. I think I just did this, the build, but whatever. Save currents, open main menu, load, run the game, which for some reason is probably going to spell. Yeah, it's got to be for number 3 for some reason. I'm curious why it's always choosing that. Hey, Hunters. Yeah, we were starting early today. We actually are going for about an hour and a half. Wait, why can't I move? Oh no, I think I broke something. Or I discovered a bug. Oh, they're on the same team. What? Or not. What? Weird. Okay. So we're gonna close this. We're gonna rebuild and run. I'll always mess around with the light. Shouldn't mess around with the... No. The ability to play. Well, unless I was across the map trying to control silvers. Oh, okay. Okay. Not quite as nice as what I remember from the 4.11 version. But sure, why not? So you're watching this for a while then? Yeah, let's move here. That's a good idea. Die, Queen. Do I think Chicken has more lines of code than Flappy Bird? I have no idea. It's a fairly simple game. I could probably do it in lines of code and check it right now. But check it doesn't really have a whole lot of line of code. Spawns can eat backwards. Okay. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, so what can we do next? I'm going to need to provide a method to, well, first off, I'm going to have to make the game state or something spawn AI runnable. Maybe the game mode, because only the server needs to care. Which could be a listen server, could be a client on it, but yeah. The AI is going to be done on the server, so why do I have to spawn on the client, right? The client's going to be like, hey, the server's going to choose this move. Thank you. Base game mode. Oh, there was no, there we are. There we are. So, there we are. Okay. So, F base AI runnable. And actually, I don't even need to do that because it's a singleton, right? I can just acquire it statically. AI runnable. That's not there. Where did I get it from? The game mode I did? Oh yeah, I did. And I did have a hook to it. Even though I don't really need to, I could just get FA runnable spawn worker or get to call worker. No, I guess I wouldn't want to do that. Okay. So yeah, I guess I do want to have a link to it. So, what was it? Base game mode. It was just FAI runnable, so that's what I'm doing. Okay. And I didn't have it as a U property, even though it's a pointer. Because it's not a U object or a subclass of a U object, so it's not going to be garbage collected. That's why I have to do all the destructor crap, you know, all the memory management stuff, well, here and there, right? So I don't need a U property for that. Yeah, thread. Let's do T. Oh no, it's not gonna work. Yeah, okay. Because that's manipulate U classes. Okay. Right, so game mode. How many sides are there to a programming language? There's a networking side and a game development side. What else? I don't understand what you're asking on that. So do you mean like how many different types of, programming jobs there are? There's like game development's not even a single one. There's graphics designers, there's AI, there's audio, there's gameplay coding, which is like, drawbridges and like buttons and switches and things like that in the game, and also like game logic and stuff like that. Then there's as you said, networking. Then there's oh geez, there's a lot of them. Physics programmers are usually separate. From what I understand, at least, I'm not a game developer like in a AAA studio or something like that. Yeah. Networking code is different from game development. Well, I mean, game development involves networking code, so I'm not sure what you're referring to when you say game development, I guess. So maybe it actually will get me closer to what I'm trying to figure out. So what do you mean by game development? And while you answer that, I'll keep looking here. I mean, there's working on a game, but there's a lot of different aspects to working on a game. Like if you're at, like I said, DICE or like Epic Games or something like that, there's a lot of different disciplines for game developers. I mean, just look at the credits, right? There's a lot of different things. When you're seeing people like me doing game development, we're typically doing gameplay programming, although we have to do some other things as well. I've done even some shader development as well, so that'd be more graphics. On this stream, I should say. But there's, like, audio programming is completely different. So if you're talking about, like, gameplay programming, like, flag, when it reaches flag base equals capture, or opponent's flag base equals capture. Door open, close, gun go bang bang, right? That's gameplay programming typically. So if that's what you're referring to. What's audio programming? Anything that would make the sound come out of the speakers. So, for example, GitHub RSS. Here is a audio. Let's pause the music. This is an audio demo I did a little while ago, actually. And the idea is that it creates particles, and the idea is that this would be kind of like dirt, and this would be like a tin roof, and this is where the player is and the way they're facing. So if you see the tin roof comes out of the right ear, well, if you turn it around, it comes out of the left ear, right? And then this kind of goes behind you and in front of you, right? Which is kind of hard to get with stereo, but because I wasn't doing HRTFs, but anyway. Right, and left. Then I also had a WebCL offload, which for supported browsers would actually do this calculation on GPUs. So for Firefox was pretty bad, but for and they know it and they're fixing it. I haven't tested it recently, but what would happen was as too many queues come in, it looked like creating queues, playing them once and dropping them, there was a non-negligible amount of overhead for that. A lot more than Google did, actually. So on this, I was able to get like 500 sound calls per second getting fired through. So having that to about 500. And that would be roughly how much it would take so that way Firefox could accept it on the computer I had, process it and dump it before it started backing up. Google Chrome was up to about 10,000, so probably, and keep in mind, people say, oh, that's kind of crap. Well, again, keep in mind, for the original Xbox, like Halo 1, Halo 2, the number of sound calls you could have was either 32 or 64, right? Because they were using actual hardware to process it. An actual sound card to do the processing. Whereas since Vista, they've had it all software. So basically, and the reason why is because XP, they said the largest number of crashes with XP were caused by audio drivers, which doesn't look too good on Creative Labs, but you know. Anyway, that aside, you get around 10,000 before Chrome starts backing up and you start picking a full CPU core. On WebCL, I was able to, on my Intel HD 4600, so I had, CPU, Intel HD 4600, and GTX 670, all three GPUs in it. When I set it to the HD 4600, I get around 20 to 30,000 before it started choking. But that meant I had to process, and it wasn't that hard because it's just stereo sounds, right? Positional audio with a bit of a fall off. 20 to 30,000 audio cues per second, so about 2 or 3 times faster than Google Chrome. Mind you, I'm using a GPU to do that, so that should tell you something. So audio programming is doing these sorts of things. A lot of it's kind of, because audio, even though it's a big part of the experience, it's not very easy to demonstrate. It's not very easy to say and show how different it is. So it's been kind of neglected quite a bit, and I was kind of hoping to take advantage of that until NVIDIA announced VRWorks Audio, which was basically what I was trying to do. But I'm not bitter. No. So it's kind of hard to show that off, so they don't put a lot of money and effort into it. But so they end up buying a license to Fmod and integrating it in, or buying a license to WWise and integrating it in, or doing something similar to that, right? But the actual audio programming aspect of it is, how do you make a sound call sound like it's coming in the environment that, or firing off in the environment that you create, right? And there's a lot of different aspects to that. Like I said, for NVIDIA, for VRWorks Audio, what they were doing, and are trying to do, I should say, is they're trying to ray trace the audio. So not only do you have the distance and fall off cause the not only have the distance and fall off cause the audio as it kind of gets off in the distance, it gets quieter, because that's what audio does. You would also have room shaping. So if you had a wall, a series of walls and corridors, it turns out that sound at high frequency especially models with ray tracing pretty well, similar to graphics. So they actually, like AMD, try to copy them a little bit, and they use their graphics ray tracing engine. As a matter of fact, I think NVIDIA used their iRay as well, engine as well. They took a visual ray tracing engine and used it for audio to trace where the sounds would come through, and that would be okay. Well, it's not about the programming language. A programming language is The programming language is basically the syntax of how you convert data, right? It's control flow, so for loops, while loops, if statements, things like that. So that way when the instruction comes in, it will either do a certain number of things a certain number of times. If it's this way, do this way. If it's not that way, do the other way, and so forth, and do checks and that sort of stuff. That's the programming language for it. Function calls, lambdas, and all that stuff. That's all in the language, and how data structures are formed. That's all in the language. But when you're talking about gameplay, audio, and all that sort of stuff, it's not a matter of the logical processes of changing the data, because that's just math. It's just how you represent it in terms of brackets or semicolons or tabs, right? What matters most is the framework and the structure to send you the data and to send it back out again. So it's not the language, it's not C++, right? It is C++, but that's not the relevant part. The relevant part is the library you hook C++ into that will send you data from a microphone. What will it send you as? Probably an arbitrary array of data that comes in as a uint8 blob, which you then will cast to, in Unreal Engine 4's case, a signed 16-bit array of integers. And that integer value will correspond to the position of the speaker. So when you see let's say you see 0, 10, 0, negative 10, 0, 10, 0, negative 10, and you know that the speaker is set to 44 kilohertz, then you know that you're having one cycle for 0, 10, 0, negative 10, 0. So there was 4 samples for one oscillation. So you know you're having a 10 kilohertz wave. The samples are being driven by a 10 kilohertz wave with an amplitude of 0 to 10, right? Whatever 10 happens to correspond to. Blech. A lot of times when you see like Unity or whatever, they use floating points, and it's usually 0 is 0 and plus and minus 1 is max. And then you have something scale between the two of those. That's not important. It just depends on the API. So when you go to Unreal Engine 4, they're going to give you, a uint8 blob. If you go to Unity, they're going to give you a array of floating point values, 32 bits, that corresponds to the audio. And you do your processing, and then you send it back to them under, in Unity's case, it would be the floating point blob. In Unreal Engine 4's case, it would be a uint8 blob. Sorry, under Unity's case, it would be a floating point array, 32-bit floating point array. Under Unreal Engine 4's case, it would be it'd be a blob of 8-bit values that corresponds to 16-bit signed. And then Unreal Engine 4 would interpret it as positions for speakers. So if you had a sine wave, it goes 1 sample, 2 sample, 3 sample, 4 sample, 5 sample, 6 sample, 7 sample, 8 sample. And the speaker would move like this, with each of those samples being 1/44,000th of a second, or 1/44,100th of a second. So 1/44100 of a second. And then the speaker would move in that way, and you'd get the sound based on the air pressure caused by the speaker cone pushing air into your ears at that frequency, which is also known as sound, right? So that is what sound programming is. It has nothing to do with the language, C#, C++. It's just manipulating math values to be what you want. The input and the output is the important part. That's not really language dependent. Although the framework you're going to be using, like Unreal Engine 4, you're going to be using C++ or blueprints, because that's what they have. Or Unity, you'd probably be using C#, maybe JavaScript, hopefully not Boot. And that would be how you get there. But it's just the math for doing it. It's the framework and the in and out logic that matters a lot. And a lot of times, these libraries will have all the things you need. Like, for example, in Unreal Engine 4, for the most part, all you will do is say, import a sound file, like get it from disk. Okay, that pointer is a sound file, now that's been decoded. Attach it to this actor. And something happened, play. Happen again, press play again. Happen again, press play again, right? Or have it, maybe if you want to have it constantly play over and over again, it'd be that sound actor is looping, and then that sound actor play, and it'll keep playing until you tell it to stop. And then that's the audio part, and that's done, right? And Unreal Engine, the framework itself, will deal with all the back-end stuff. Assuming that, of course, that Unreal Engine 4's functionality is complete for you. It's not going to be complete if you want to use VRWorks Audio. You'd have to import NVIDIA's library of stuff for that, or make your own, or whatever. But that's kind of the concept behind it, is all programming ever is translating data from one form to another. The language is in charge of the syntax required to store the data, translate the data, and so forth. But then you're going to be calling other libraries, because you're not going to be making the operating system and everything from scratch. You're going to be needing to interface with all the hardware and stuff like that. So you need to know how they all work. And that depends on the operating system, because Microsoft's going to say everyone who wants to make it compatible has an M card for Windows. You're going to have to follow this framework where you have this function call, this function call, this function call, this data type, this data type, this data type, go. And then they all make their hardware for Windows, and they release a driver for Windows, which is that translation layer. And it just works. And then all the programs for Windows say, hey, Windows, I want a sound card. Microsoft says, I have 3 of them available. And this program says, okay, I'll take that one, your main one or whatever. And Microsoft says, okay. And then you just say, here's all your sound data. And Microsoft will just say, okay, driver, you have the sound data. Go ahead. And the sound card, because it knows Microsoft standard, will say, okay, I have this data coming through. And there's layers in between it, so the program could have a layer for, the gameplay code on top of it, and there's mods maybe for, third-party content. That would be in the, and then it keeps going that way, right? So there's a lot of different aspects for it, but it's all translating data, and it's all depends on what you're doing, right? So yeah, I believe that's it. So is there any other questions for that? So there's audio programming, graphics, there's gameplay programming, there's and a lot of these ends up overlapping. Like if you're in Epic Games, you're gonna be controlling like tool engineer. There is entire jobs of making tools for people to make the game with. So not only do you have to make the game, you may have to make the map editor. You may have to make the blueprint scripting system, some nodes for it, the system editor itself, things like that. You have to make all those things too. So these are all disciplines, and there's people who are really good at language, really good at, regular expressions, really good at UI design, really good at, and they all kind of work together. Oh, UI design's a really big one, UX, because it's kind of a lousy program if you don't have a good interface to have the user send what they want and get the stuff back. And there's overlaps as well, as I said, because UX is going to say, hey, you're doing, let's say your team colors are red and green. They're usually red and blue, but let's say they're red and green. Some people are colorblind. They won't tell the difference. So they may shoot their teammates, right? And, that's going to have to be on the gameplay designers to modify that or whatever, right? And there's also the minor things too, like reds tend to signify danger. So if you are constantly in a red team, and you see your guns red and all that sort of stuff is red, you're going to be constantly seeing danger signs, so you may actually react slower to danger than the blue team would, because you're constantly being given those you know, biological signs for it, and the other team is not going to, because they're going to see kill the red, and you're going to see, oh, blue, oh, I got to kill him, right? And obviously not nearly as exaggerated for that, because in the video game, you know, blue team's my enemy, I gotta kill them, right? But there is that slight bit, so there might be some disadvantages just based on the team colors from one player to another. That's a user experience issue. Then, of course, obviously, interface. If your main menu system is a broken mess and it won't actually, you know, if it doesn't work, first off, or if it doesn't work well with a controller, or you need a mouse and keyboard, that's a user interface issue and all that sort of stuff. So there's a bunch of disciplines for all different things. And then again, there's UX for the tools, because you don't want... Imagine this. Imagine you have great engineers, great artists, but the great engineers and great artists don't have the tools that let them do their job. Well, now you need user experience designers to let the engineers make good content for the game, right? And the artists as well, good content for the game. Because, you know, they have to work on that stuff too, right? And there's a whole bunch of things for that. Then there's platform engineers, which basically say, hey, on Apple, they let us use Metal. On Windows, we can use DirectX, OpenGL, or Vulkan. On Linux, we can use OpenGL or Vulkan. On Android, we can use Vulkan and OpenGL ES. Not full OpenGL, but OpenGL ES. Some places actually allow full OpenGL, but that's still. And then iOS, you can use Metal, and so forth. And you see all these ways, right? You can then have... Well, you then need to have people who are, you know, who are hired such that they take your internal API for the framework and make sure that when it hooks out, and then there's also HTML5 as well, when it hooks out, it's going to attach to the right framework, and when you implement a feature, that it works correctly on OpenGL, it works correctly on Vulkan, it works correctly on DirectX, it works correctly on DirectX 12, it works correctly on Metal, if possible. And maybe it's not possible. Maybe this thing doesn't support the feature at all, so you have to find some way of falling back from that to a lesser feature or something like that for that platform, because it doesn't have it, and so forth. And that's platform engineers. That's another discipline of people who just take API frameworks and implements them in various platforms to make sure they all work. Whole lot of game development things. And they left the chat channel, so I'm assuming that's done talking. So thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you all probably after the holidays. Well, after Christmas, during the holidays, probably after Christmas, maybe before, probably after. Yep, there we are.